Mr. Smith, you started your comments explaining that this bill or this proposal was extreme, and that it damaged the quality of life in Minnesota. Now, I've been here a while, and I've heard the term loosely bantered about quality of life, and I'm beginning to think that people who use those terms kind of define quality of life with a government subsidy in order to promote some type of public good. Sometimes we've used it so much that we don't even think that anything good can come from anywhere else other than a government subsidy. And I was just wondering, you used the term 3 or 4 times in your dissertation, and I was just wondering if your definition of quality of life may be different than mine.
We are not doing better on the quality of life measures, which are health and welfare and the kinds of things that government tends to watch for, but we're also not doing well on the economic measures compared to other states. We used to be an overachiever economically with income growth rates and job creation that far exceeded other states. So the promised payoff of big income tax cuts and at the federal level, national tax cuts, income tax as well as capital gains tax cuts, is really difficult to see. We do not see the economic prosperity that was promised from less government and lower taxes. So at the very least, though, we think the argument that being a low-tax, low-government state is going to make things better for all of us is just simply not panning out.
Previous witness also said the same comment that Mr. Smith said, that in other states that have considered a referendum limiting state spending, that it's never passed. Well, then the opponents of this bill should feel rather comforted that the public is on their side and that there would never be a chance of passage in the state of Minnesota.
Very good point, Senator Limmer. Senator Bakk, I have no rejoinder to that one.
Yeah.
But it's just be a waste of time, though.
Well, Mr. Chair and Mr. Smith, I'm assuming that those proposals that were passed before were at least 2 years old, if not older, aligning itself with the election years. 2 years ago and back, we do not have the suffering that's going on as a result of our national and state economy as we do now. And yet there still are people, even people in this very room, that are legislators that will be proposing more taxes on the people of Minnesota with the hope of somehow preserving some type of holy grail of government spending to be our saving grace to keep people safe. Government, despite that logic, despite that, it will continue to fail, because now we are deeply into killing the goose that lays the golden egg, and that is providing good quality jobs for our families. And that is at a tremendous risk now than ever before. I think, you know, being a gambling man, I think I would take the odds that I think the state of Minnesota, the public, who's going through questioning whether they're going to have a job in another month or whether their pension funds will ever come back, are now looking at the other thing that keeps eroding what's left of their paycheck, what's left of their pension funds, and questioning maybe government should maybe slow down a little bit. And I think they have a right to be in this public discussion.
Well,
Senator Limmer, Mr. Chair.
Senator Limmer, I don't think that's quite a fair characterization of tax policy in Minnesota. And I think you're right. I think there is a perception on the part of the public that taxes keep going up and up and up and up, but all of us at this table know that the income taxes that you paid in 1998 in Minnesota were higher than they are today. Income taxes were higher, our income tax rates were higher in 1998 than they are today. And I would bet you the general population would not agree with that statement. But we all know that that's true. But I think, Senator Limmer, some of it is perception. I think it's not real.
Well, Mr. Chair, The sales tax is higher now than it was in 1998. Our property taxes are higher than 1998. And so we can't just look at the income tax as a revenue stream for the state of Minnesota, because as we all know, there's many different revenue streams that this body has created to suck more revenue out of the pockets of our taxpayers.
But Senator Limmer, the price of government, the total price that we pay for state and local government as a percentage of the total income we all earn is lower. I mean, unless somebody wants to dispute the Department of Revenue's numbers, the percentage of our income that we're paying for state and local government is lower today than it was, frankly, when I got elected in 1994.
Well, Mr. Chair, in light of current demographics that are going on now, on the growth of our economy, the growth of government, the proposals that are being talked about in Washington, depending on where that goes, one government program, the health bill, I've seen budget figures, that one government program, one vote by Congress, will increase our national debt by 10%. I don't know how we can sustain it when the economic growth of this nation is not growing higher. And maybe we might be a microcosm in Minnesota. I haven't checked the economic growth of our national or our state gross product in relationship to the taxes that we are considering this year. I just don't know how you can sustain it. And I think if we as a legislature cannot stop the growth of government taxation and spending, maybe it's a good time to let the public in on the public discussion and let them decide.